Hey guys, Joker the Fool here, back at it again with Poll Review. And this is going to be episode 8 of Poll Review. And if this is the first time you're tuning into this series, I do the daily poll on exclusively games. Unofficial, just do it for fun. And every week I go through the last 7 daily polls that I did and I go through the topic, the results of the poll itself, why I chose it, and then what the community said in replies below. So, without further ado, let's start with Daily Poll 50. Was the Star Wars Fallen Order trailer good? And was it pretty obvious? The Fallen Order trailer had dropped the day before, and I just wanted to see what you guys thought about it. And the biggest answer is that most people didn't watch the trailer. 2 people said it was awful. 3 people said it was bad. 5 people said it was average. 5 people said it was good. And then 2 people thought it was great. So I would say pretty mixed. And I thought it was pretty good. I wish I wish we had seen some gameplay, other than some cinematics to give us an impression of what this game is actually going to play like. So until I see some actual gameplay and see some actual reviews, I'm going to be very, very cautious about this game. So let's go to the replies. Thomas, pretty regular in the polls, says the trailer was fake as fuck. We're a few months away from launch, and they haven't shown any real gameplay, which is pretty suspicious. And I just made that point, and I agree. Beowulf doesn't care about Star Wars anymore. Didn't even bother watching the trailer. Also, fuck EA. Yeah, so I mean that's what after the Last Jedi and even with the Force Awakens, people's interest in Star Wars has waned, because I remember when Force Awakens was about to come out, and it's been like 12 or 11 years since we had gotten like an actual live action Star Wars movie. There was a lot of hype around that, but Disney has been pumping out so much Star Wars related stuff that people have just gotten tired of it. It doesn't mean as much that a Star Wars movie is coming out as it did, even like 4 years ago when this new trilogy started. But let's go to Hyperweasel. Hyperweasel says it was a waste of time. Said literally nothing about what the game really is, along with no gameplay. It's got no hype. Everything about it screams meh. The characters and planets look uninteresting as well. Ethan Saito, another regular, says watching the trailer made me think about Uncharted, except none of the characters are interesting. Which, yeah, I mean, I don't know. We didn't really get much from that trailer, and Cal Kestis seems like he could be a good character. It's just there just isn't enough for me to make a full-on judgment. But it does seem like it will probably be better than the Battlefront games. But that is not a that is not a high bar to clear. But so, like I said, pretty mixed. We went through some of the replies, so let's move on to the next one. This is the 51st daily poll, which is did you back Subverse? And I'm not talking about the Subverse YouTube channel that Tim Pool runs, which is pretty good. It's like over 100K, so I check it out. I think it's pretty cool. But there's also what I was talking about is the game Subverse. This one made by Studio Fao. It's going to essentially be like a porn game with real gameplay from what they've described about it, and I might back it because I'm getting my tax return this week, and I might blow some of it on Subverse. But so that is just me. Most people have no interest in Subverse. 8 people will buy it when it releases. 12 people didn't back Subverse, and then 6 people backed Subverse. So Wicked Wolf doesn't really care, but why are they purposely using such cringy language on the back of the rewards page? Which, I don't know. I think that's like their style. But I went through that Kickstarter and I thought it was pretty solid and everything. But yeah, I guess he puts these like proud institution of perfect optimal butt cheek waifu of choice. Porn games aren't my thing, but Live and Let Live still seems like something a sexually deprived teenager would write. I think that's the point, Wicked Wolf. If you watch these. The point is to be a bit lowbrow. I think they've admitted that they make crappy porn videos, and that is essentially what they're getting at in terms of like they want to be a bit lowbrow with it. Mad Mommy didn't even know it was a prawn game. Bolton never heard about it. Gillian says he only heard about it today, but if he knew about it before, then nope. Though he does wish them the best. And then he goes into a pretty long rant about how the girls aren't his type. Animu Sisters doesn't throw his money away. Repentant Sky, I've seen him on the polls. He says it looks like a BXCOM game, and since I don't care much for XCOM, he's going to say no. The whole eye candy bit, if anyone wants to see the footage, will be online, so there's not really a reason to back this game. Also, it's hard to know what to take seriously and what to ignore, so yeah, that's a no from him, which is a decent point. That, I mean, a lot of the, let's see, more fun scenes, we'll go with that. I think you know what I'm talking about. We'll probably just be uploaded to the X-rated sites, and you know. So let's see. Yeah, so Calidors is talking about there's a whole lawsuit going on with Tim Pool in Subverse. He made a whole half an hour video about it, and there's like a whole interview of him with Rikaida. I watched his video on it. Never watched the interview with Rikaida. So that is a whole big can of worms I don't want to open up. But we'll go through the last one for this. And Borgir says he's surprised that FAO chose to road a legal action. Guess the backers will all be asked to cough up more to cover their legal fees. Maybe it's because they've had so much support that they think they can win this. Tim had the name first, and his product is live. FAO is still in development stages. Kickstarter finished less than 2 weeks ago. Less than time of money. So yeah, that's the last thing. But I'll just say, yeah, I do hope they settle it, because how hard would it be for Subverse to like add a subtitle to their name or something like that, or they could just call it Submissive Universe and something like that. I think there's something, because they want to make the best game they can, and Tim Pool wants to pour as much as he can into making Subverse an actual news brand that can compete with compete with the mainstream established news sites, and both of them going into a lawsuit is not going to let that happen. So that's my whole take on the thing. I want to be a fan of Subverse and Subverse, and I hope they find an amicable solution that doesn't involve paying lawyers boatloads of money. So let's go on to the next daily poll, and this is do you replay games? And let's see. Yeah, so this is another one that I just thought of. And then Daily Poll 51, it was the whole thing that went on with Tim Pool was the reason why I decided to do it. Because it was a big Kickstarter. It's like over $1 million right now, and I think they might have just hit £1 million. So a lot of people are funding it, and that whole controversy with Tim Pool was another reason that I thought about doing that daily poll. So let's go to this one, which is this one that I thought of, was asking if people replayed games, and most people have either replayed a lot of games or replayed a few games. So Ragnarok said that the only games that he replays often are Elder Scrolls 4, 5, Fallout 3, New Vegas, and Dark Souls 1 and 3. Not 2? I don't know. Any other games he happens to replay are outside of the norm. It's hard for me to find games that he actually employs playing more than once, which is true. I've replayed Persona 5 several times. I've played Mass Effect 2 a bunch. Yeah, it is hard to find like a game that's really, really good. And let's see. So yeah, that's a good reply from Ragnarok. Regular the daily polls. Retro says he replays lots of games. Most are older games. Might be because he doesn't have all that much time anymore, and or because older games tend to be shorter. He probably plays through the Mega Man series once a year. So very fitting of your name, Retro. Yeah, and like he said, regular the polls, always enjoy reading his replies. Beowulf says he replays all Zelda and Ace Combat games from time to time. And then Endless, I haven't seen him too much, says he's replayed some Star Wars KOTOR, KOTOR 1 and 2 more times than he cares to admit. And then we are going to move on to Daily Poll 53. Was Joker's Smash reveal good? So yeah, so it was yesterday where Nintendo just literally uploaded like a 15-minute video of Joker's Smash reveal, and then the next day they released Joker. So I just wanted to do a poll on it, which didn't get too much traction. Whenever I do a daily poll on anything Nintendo related, people just tune out from it. So I can usually, if I pick a good topic, I can get over 100 views. But if I do like if I do anything Nintendo related, I'm like guaranteed to get under 100. But I'm a Nintendo fan. I know a few of you on the EG forum are Nintendo fans as well. So um, I'm going to do stuff from time to time that may not be as popular with the rest of you. And if you don't like a topic, then you don't have to vote. Um, but yeah, so most people don't care about Smash. Um, 5 people saw the reveal and loved it, which I really did. 3 people saw the reveal, thought it was average. 5 people saw the reveal and really liked it, but no one saw the reveal and thought it was bad. So Nick, I've seen him on the polls a few times, says he's super excited for Joker now. The trailer delivered more than he expected and even wanted for Joker. The inclusion of Persona 3 and Persona 4 is awesome, plus the Phantom Thief showing up on stage is rad, and Panther's cheeky pose on stage is plus. So yeah, so there's Persona 3 and Persona 4 music in the game. That's what he's talking about, and the fact that in the Memento stage, you'll have other characters from Persona 5 the game actually appearing while the battle goes on, which is really really cool. And then I made something that with his final smash, there's an all-out attack, and it always goes on an end screen. And in the game, depending on who initiates the all-out attack, it will change that end screen. So this is Ants, and that's my favorite for particular reasons. um, but uh, So yeah, but it always defaults to Joker since it's Joker's doing it. He's the one who's playing the game. But it actually there are 2 versions of it. There's with different characters, but that's that's enough of me nerding about Persona 5. Let's go on to some more of the replies. Which the next one is Repentant Sky says he's a huge Persona fan, like it's one of his favorite series. So seeing all that literally out of nowhere has really got me wanting to get Smash just to play Joker on it. Also, that Persona 2 alternate color, yes please. He's all about that. I think it was Persona 3. It was Persona 3 and 4, not Persona 2. I think, yeah, it's got music from Persona 3 and 4, not Persona 2. But yeah. Bolta says the reveal is pretty good, but he's not the biggest fan of fighting games, therefore he won't buy any DLC. A little bit disappointed by the microtransactions introduced me costumes at 75 euro a piece. I think that's what he's saying. Well, this was something that they did in Smash 4, which was on the Wii U and the 3DS, so I'm not really surprised by that. I particularly don't really care about the Mii costumes, and I think like the initial Smash game launched with so many characters and so much content, and the 3.0 update had a lot of stuff for free that I think the way that Smash is monetized is perfectly fine. But that's just my opinion. You can disagree, but I think Smash is a very fair game experience in my mind. Like I said, that's just me. So, Cousin Ed, he's posted on the polls pretty consistently. Says wasn't the Joker that he was thinking of. Are you serious? Or what was it? Yeah, why so serious? There we go. Okay, so we'll move on to Daily Poll 54. Are you still playing Apex Legends? And I'm pretty sure I fought this one up because I watched the video from the quartering reporting on the fact that the the Twitch stats and the Twitch viewership for Apex have fallen off a cliff, and I decided to ask if people were still playing Apex, and most people, 80%, never played the game. A few people, 3, said they still play regularly, and 9 hadn't played in a month or more. And I had voted on this, but a few days ago, on I think Sunday, I had played Apex with a streamer that I watched regularly. So that was the last time I played Apex, and it's a fun game, but it's battle royale, and I've played like 30 hours of PUBG. I played a good 10 hours or so of Blackout. I played a little bit of Fortnite. So it's like there really isn't much more for me to do in terms of like playing more Apex. Ragnarok played a few games of Apex when it first came out. Wasn't a huge fan of the battle royale genre, so that's probably why he didn't stick to it. He did rather enjoy it though, and would gladly play it if any of his friends wanted to. Beowulf, like Titanfall, never even installed Apex. Don't support AEA since Mass Effect 3, which is pretty fair. And I'll say, Apex really has no business saying it's a Titanfall game because the only thing that makes Apex at all comparable to Titanfall is that there are some assets from Titanfall in Apex. So I guess they were like, well, we want to make a free to play battle royale game and we want it to be as inexpensive as possible. So let's just say it's a Titanfall game, so we can use some assets from Titanfall. Yeah, that's literally it. There really isn't there. I mean, I guess I could go read up on the lore and say like, oh, Gibraltar was from Demeter or some shit like that. But as far as like anything, nothing in the game really screams that this is a Titanfall game from how I see it, and that's how I think most people who've played both see it as well. So, I I saw. I've read the replies in the poll before, and I haven't I can't say it correctly. So if you ever watch this, Ere, you have to tell me how to pronounce your name. I don't want to mispronounce anybody's name. Generally, don't play these sorts of games. Played Overwatch because an ex begged him to play it with them. Not that he didn't enjoy it. I did. It's just rare to get excited on the premise alone. And then if you can't hook me with that, then we'll not bother. Okay, so that's a pretty standard. Last one we'll go read out is Mad Mummies, which is result is unexpected. Thought a larger percent of people would have tried it. Gamers are splitting in half more than he thought to the battle royale slash mobile pay to win junkies and those who want a meaningful single player experience, which definitely a thing. I mean, I've played over 300 hours of Overwatch. I've played over 200 hours of Persona 5. So I mean, I want both. I don't mind. I mean, I love single player games more than multiplayer, but I don't mind good multiplayer games. So I'm in the camp that I want. I want all sorts of games. That's what I'm like, Mad Mommy. So we'll go on to the penultimate daily poll for this poll review, which is daily poll 55. Have you watched video game movies? Another one that just randomly popped in my head. And most people have seen a few, 79%. And then the next one was they've either seen a few or seen a lot. One person said they've seen one video game movie, and one person says I've never seen a video game movie. And I mean, I've watched a bit of Persona 5, the animation, but I've never watched like a full feature video game movie from. Yeah, I don't think I ever have. Repentance Guy says he's seen many and even owned a few video game movies, those being Heavenly Sword and Ratchet and Clank. Truth be told, none of them are that good, but sometimes I choose to help a developer that I like. So yeah, sorry, not sorry. Mad Mummy says, yeah, what do I mean by video game movie? A movie based on a video game. Yeah, so then, yeah, it's a movie based on a video game. That's what I meant. Aileron says he's seen a few. Doom and Resident Evil stick out in his mind, but I suppose there have been a few more that I've seen, and he doesn't remember any of them being very good. Jack of Tears, a regular on the polls, says, just gives a huge list of a bunch. It might have been a Mass Effect fan movie. It might be what he's talking about. Star Magician says a few: Doom, Super Mario Brothers, King's Glaive, Final Fantasy 15, parts of Tomb Raider, and Resident Evil. The one that really takes the cake is The Hero of Time, a fan-based movie on Ocarina of Time. It was so bad, it was good. Okay, I've seen movies like that. Twitchit says he's watched more than a few. Watch a Resident Evil or a Tomb Raider movie when they're on TV. How about The Wizard? I know what The Wizard is, and The Wizard is a movie that came out in the 80s, and it's like based on a bunch of NES games, I think. I probably would count The Wizard. Twitchit, if you're watching this, I probably would count it as a video game movie because it's based on. It's even got like the Power Glove in it, right? I think AVGN did a video on it, and that's where I know about The Wizard. Tech One, he's watched a few, none were great. The Silent Hill movie had a decent atmosphere, but was still pretty meh. I enjoyed the Persona 4 and 5 animes. Do they count? Not really. Yeah, I wouldn't count those because they're adaptations of a video game into like a linear media. but they're not like movies, you know. You'd like a Star Wars movie based on the first KOTOR game, but they probably butcher it. You know, I mean, you've seen what they do with Star Wars movies at this point. They probably would. So let's move on to the final one, and this is: do you listen to video game soundtracks? And uh, it was the article that Kotaku released on the Persona 5 DLC. That one song that had that had retard in it when it wasn't in it at all, and they made a whole article that wasn't justified at all. But I got to thinking about video game soundtracks, and then this is where the poll came. So most people listen to video game music when they're not gaming often. 6 people say they listen to video game music when they game, and then 11 people listen to video game music when they weren't gaming a few times. DGK, I've seen him in the polls a few times, has a tendency to throw on some Final Fantasy or Trails music while he writes. Very relaxing, helps him think, so it's pretty cool. Schizo Boy says, yeah, I posted about a YouTuber, Abaddon Smith. He's been doing hip hop remixes. He just made one today on Sonic 3. They're pretty good. And I had, I posted a link in the daily poll. I'll link to all the daily polls that I talk about. I do this with every poll review. So if you want to check out Abaddon Smith, I would recommend it. Schizo Boy's asking me if you listen to Overclock Remix, which they host a lot of creators, and he's talking about Mass Effect, Deus Ex, Assassin's Creed 2, Rome Total War, Assassin's Creed Black Flag. Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, Samurai Warriors 4, and there's some Journey and Gris, some soundtracks from Journey and Gris that are truly evocative. So, Overclocked has been around from like '99 because I googled it, Schizo Boy, after you mentioned it, and I listened to some stuff, and it was pretty cool. I'd say Thomas says there's a few. Hollow Knight has one of the best scores he's ever heard. Retro says he's listened to game music pretty regularly. The soundtrack for the Persona games are excellent. I gotta agree, Retro. Persona 5 is a stellar soundtrack. Only wishes you could purchase digital soundtracks on something like Amazon. I like the Distant World Final Fantasy albums, the remixes from We Are Rockman, Mega Man albums, and the music put together from Kirby's Dream Band 2. I know some Persona 5 music is on Spotify. I know that for a fact. So if you have Spotify Retro, then you can listen to Persona. But I'm assuming you want to like have it downloaded locally and then listen to it while so you don't need to be connected to mobile or Wi-Fi, which I understand and I sympathize with. I like buying, I like having it local to my to me. When I buy it. So I like buying it digitally. Or, yeah. So I can agree with you on that, Retro. Nick says the newest soundtracks he's been listening to are the Resident Evil 2 remake, Devil May Cry 5, Red Dead 2. Some of his favorites are Red Dead Redemption, Metal Gear Rising, Metal Gear Solid 3, and Persona 3. And Zoltar is pretty regular in the polls, says he listens to the game music pretty often. He actually owns a few of Espolis Games Sound Legend Consumer Series Biography Espolis soundtrack, which is a 4-disc set containing every soundtrack and a few bonus tracks from the entire Lufia series. So that was pretty interesting, I would say. So this has been the 8th episode of Poll Review. If you watched this far, I really appreciate it, and thanks for watching. If you like this video, we'll give it a like. If you dislike it, you can dislike it. If you want to stick around for the next poll review, you can hit that subscribe button, and so you can stick around for when I do the next episode of poll review or any other videos I decide to make. I've been Joker the Fool. This has been the 8th episode of Poll Review, and I hope you guys all have a great day, whatever you decide to do. So, goodbye.